Okay, that's the cue. Okay, cool. That's the cue?
Yes.
Okay, so we're ready.
In 5, 4,
Hear that?
3, 2.
You don't have to tell out loud, do you? Okay, go.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Good afternoon. Thanks for having
Good
me.
to meet you. Inez, right?
Yes,
Pleasure meeting you. And I hear that you're a single mom.
I am. Yes.
And single mothers are very special to me. So I wanted to take this time to talk with you and find out what's on your heart. How do you feel about your experience as a single mother, particularly in America, and as an African American woman? What's your feelings are? Is there anything you would like to share with the world?
Wow, there are a whole lot of feelings about the reality of being a single mother. I am a single mother of 3 children, 3 young children, and I am a working mother, a professional, and it's very, very challenging at times. There are a number of elements that go into being able to work, such as childcare, such as being able to adequately provide. You know, there are a lot of single black women in America that are not so fortunate to be able to do that, and it's a challenge. It's a real challenge. There's a lot of sacrifices that have to be made in terms of service and attention to your children in order to go to school or work jobs that pay to where you'll be able to provide. So it's really a challenge to kind of balance out those 2 things, and that's my biggest challenge.
Well, there's 1,000 questions that I have for you, right?
Yeah.
However, we can't do 1,000 questions, right?
Right.
But we gave you a form with some questions on it. Is there anything that jumped out of that page that you wanted to address? Any questions that particularly interest you here?
There were a lot of interesting questions that were on the form.
Right.
One in particular that I always challenge is the stereotype of being a single black mother. Seems to be a general consensus that we are, one, choosing to be single, that we are happy being single, and there's a lot of women who say that they're happy being single, and you know, it's definitely not my right to challenge whether or not they're happy. What I do know is that the original design of just humanity, it's not made for us to do anything independently or by ourselves. There's no ease in that. There's a lot of unnecessary challenge because life in and of itself will provide ample challenge.
Right.
So to walk into that saying I'd rather do this by myself, or I'm happy doing this by myself, I have to say that I personally kind of doubt the integrity of that type of statement, or the boasting of being, quote, independent, which in reality there's no such thing as anyone or anything being independent.
May I ask a question? Do women do that? Do single mothers do that because they feel they have to empower themselves, because they don't have confidence in the man being there with them, so they say, I can do everything myself, I don't need a man, etc.? Is that one of the reasons why?
I think it is. I think it's a coping mechanism. I think it's kind of like an idea of concession, like conceding to, you know, the idea that we are made to do this alone, that we are supposed to do it alone, that many, you know, men or many of our, you know, brothers do not want to be with us, that they will not marry us, and ideas like that, which in my opinion, for some strange reason, it seems as though the culture of America has kind of always had a propaganda in place to separate black men and black women. And right now it appears that media is the number one thing in keeping us separated, or even kind of demonizing black women, especially single mothers. A lot of men kind of run from women who have children, and they don't see it as an empowering or strong thing. They see it as a woman who's made bad choices, a woman,
Baggage.
yeah, a woman who has baggage, and not so much as something that is a challenge to accept, you know, to enhance responsibility or even accountability, or, you know, as a black man, as someone who wants to do something to uplift their community, which always starts with family, which always starts with individuals who are making the choice to help each other.
Right.
And so it's just it's a lot of different factors, but the stereotype of single black women being happy and choosing and being independent, you know, I personally, speaking for myself, that is not something that I would boast about.
Right.
It is something that I actually believe to be very untrue. Of course, it takes a man to actually make a child.
Right.
It actually took a man for you to even be here, so and a woman as well.
Right.
So the idea of anybody or anything being independent and not needing anyone is just completely untrue, and it definitely makes things unnecessarily more difficult.
Yes.
There is a need not only for the man, but there is a need for the man, the woman, and extended family and community to be involved for the wellness and the ease of raising children. But that's the way that I believe that it was originally designed. That's the way of our culture. And I don't see any other way of wellness for children and for women who, you know, take on these unnecessary burdens. And even for the brothers being disconnected and not bonding with children, I think that takes something away from them too.
From them too as men, yeah. But you know, your
people.
your answer is so on point and so articulate and just so beautiful that I don't even have to ask you for a closing statement, because your answer was so comprehensive. It covered everything that I wanted to ask you. And I really appreciate that. I think that this interview will help others who are trying to find their way. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And for being here and being just a great example of what we aspire to
Thank
in
you.
society, just as human beings. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for doing the documentary.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Stay.